All right, today we're diving into something pretty cool, pledged asset lending. It's all about how you can unlock wealth that's just sitting there, trapped. We're going to find out how to turn something you can see but can't really use into cold, hard capital. Let's get into it. So let me ask you a question. Imagine you want to buy a house, right? But all your money, your real wealth, it's tied up in other assets. Now, the old way is to sell that stuff, probably get hit with a big tax bill, and lose out on any future gains. But what if you didn't have to? What if you could get the cash you need for that house and keep your original assets completely untouched? Well, that's exactly the promise we're exploring today. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the core problem here. You've probably heard the term asset rich, cash poor. It's a classic situation. You might have a ton of value on paper, but it's all locked up. You can't get to it. You can't spend it. You can't invest it. It's just there. And honestly, it's a super frustrating spot to be in because your wealth isn't actually working for you. And when we say trapped assets, we're not just talking about, a spare piece of real estate. The source material brings up some really interesting examples. We're talking about things like old legacy bonds. Get this, like a Republic of Haiti bond from 1947. Or think about intellectual property, like music royalties, or even structured settlements and family promissory notes. All of these things have real value, but yeah, you can't exactly go to the grocery store and swipe a family IOU. So, how in the world do you start to unlock this stuff? Well, the first step is to build a fortress around it. And the modern day answer isn't stone walls, it's a very specific kind of trust. Think of it like a high tech digital vault built from the ground up to protect and manage these kinds of unique assets. Now, the bedrock of this whole fortress is something called an irrevocable trust. And that word, irrevocable, is absolutely key. It means once you put an asset inside, that's it. It's no longer legally yours personally. It's owned by the trust. This creates this incredible legal separation, a shield that protects it from your personal creditors. That's a level of protection you just can't get if the asset is sitting in your own name. And if the irrevocable trust is the foundation, the spendthrift clause, well, that's the unbreachable walls. The source material calls it a legal firewall, and that is the perfect description. It's designed to stop a beneficiary's creditors dead in their tracks, so even if someone, down the line, gets into financial hot water, bankruptcy, divorce, you name it, the wealth inside that trust is completely safe, totally shielded. All right, so we've built our fortress. The asset is safe and sound inside, but it's still locked up, right? How do we actually get the value out? This is where we fire up the trust's legal engine. The goal here isn't just to protect the asset, but to give the trust itself a superior legal claim to it. And this is done with a pretty standard legal tool called a UCC filing. The easiest way to think about it is like planting a flag. So, step one, the trust identifies the asset it holds. That's picking your territory. Step two, it files a public notice called a UCC-1. That's literally planting the flag for the whole world to see. And step three, that act of planting the flag gives the trust what's called a perfected security interest. It just means its claim is now legally number one in line. No one can jump ahead of it. And this quote from the source really nails it. That UCC filing allows the trust to act as a creditor to its own asset. It sounds a little strange, but think about it. By doing this, the trust basically puts itself at the front of the line. So when a lender comes along and looks at this asset, they see a clear, public, legally binding claim from the trust. They know that nobody else can swoop in and take that collateral, and that is what makes a bank feel safe. It turns a piece of property into something they can actually lend against. Okay, so we've got the legal side locked down. The asset is secure, and the trust has a perfected claim on it. That's one half of the puzzle. But there's still a problem. How do you make something weird and illiquid, like that 1947 bond we mentioned, legible to the modern financial world? While the other half of the puzzle is technology. And that technology is tokenization. It's a total game changer. Look at the difference. On the left, you have the old school asset. It's illiquid, it's a pain to value, it's just static. But once you tokenize it, look what happens on the right. Suddenly, it's liquid, it's verifiable. It becomes this dynamic financial tool you can actually do things with. It's a night and day transformation. But here's a crucial point. You can't just use any old token. The system that the source material lays out uses a specific standard called ERC 3643. The keyword there is permissioned. What that really means is that it's built with rules. It's designed from the start to follow all the financial regulations, KYC, AML, the whole shebang. This makes it a serious, legally compliant tool for representing real-world assets, not just some random crypto coin. And this is the moment it all clicks. You take the legal power of the trust and that UCC filing, and you combine it with the clean, digital clarity of a compliant token. And what have you done? You've performed a bit of financial alchemy. You've taken a piece of trapped, messy, illiquid wealth and transformed it into a clear, secure, verifiable instrument, something a bank can look at and say, okay, I get this. I can work with this. Which brings us to the grand finale, the blueprint. Let's walk through step by step how all these pieces, the trust, the filing, the token, come together to do exactly what we talked about at the very beginning, buying a home without selling a single thing. Okay, step 1. You take your valuable but illiquid asset, let's use those intellectual property rights as an example, and you legally place it inside the irrevocable trust. Then it gets tokenized. Now it's not just a contract sitting in a file cabinet, it's a digital entry on a ledger. It's secure and it's readable by the financial system. Step 2. The legal engine kicks into gear. The trustee goes and files that UCC1 statement, planting the flag. This officially perfects the trust's security interest. So now that tokenized asset isn't just a digital thing, it's bank-grade collateral with a legally enforced first-in-line claim. Step 3. Now we go to a lender. And what do they see? They see an asset that's clearly defined by a token, safely tucked away in a protective trust, and best of all, has that perfected #1 claim. For a lender, that's a beautiful sight. They feel secure. So they issue a loan against that asset, which is now pledged as collateral. The key here? Nothing was sold. And finally, step 4. The trust gets the loan funds and it goes and buys that house, putting the title in the trust's name for maximum protection. And this is the magic trick. You got the cash, you bought the house, and your original asset, those IP rights, is still sitting right there in the trust, completely untouched, maybe even growing in value. You've unlocked its wealth without giving it up. So let's just recap the big takeaways here. It's really a 4-step playbook. 1, you use a modern trust to create that legal firewall. 2, you use a UCC filing to give the trust a powerful creditor position. 3, you use tokenization to make a weird asset understandable and bankable. And 4, put it all together and you get pledged asset lending. You get to unlock your wealth without having to sell your assets. Simple as that. It really leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? If the right legal and tech tools can make almost any asset liquid, I mean, from an old bond to a new idea, then what is wealth really? Is it just the stuff you have, or is it the ability to use that stuff to do what you want? It kind of changes how you think about everything.